Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Forecast is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Forecast is brought to you by Ford, featuring available voice-activated Sync. Sync gives you versatile access to music, podcasts, and more from just about any device. Check it out in the new 2012 Ford Focus and at Ford.com/technology. And by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly, all streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit.
What sort of future do you think we're heading for? How will we live as we slip into the 21st century?
Welcome to Forecast, episode 102. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Scott Johnson. Ooh, Tom has cheese, everyone, here on Forecast.
I watched Downton Abbey over the weekend, so I made Chad Johnson put on white gloves and serve me tea and snacks.
And it probably came from something like Poppington-on-Fresh or some ridiculous British town space place.
Yes. No, it came from Petaluma Market across the street, but I can pretend. Joining us today on Forecast, the show where we predict the future, Mr. Eric Van Skyhawk, art director by day and creator of amazing music, and also co-host of AppSlappy by night. The creator of the awesome morning stream theme song, as a matter of fact.
One of the songs.
One of
them.
Has
a couple.
Yeah. There are many.
We alternate them. Yeah, we alternate them, but people are very fond of Eric's his work. He also has an album on iTunes. Everybody should go get it. His music name is Skyhawk. The album is called Function, and you would do yourselves a favor by getting it. It's also on Amazon, right,
do
Eric?
Eric a favor, that's for sure.
Yes, it's on Amazon too.
It's really good.
Where
if you like electronica.
It's a good electronica. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's
also.
what I do.
Also joining us today, because of a last-minute cancellation, we'd like to welcome the hive mind of Twit.tv, the chat room. Welcome to the show, everyone in the chat room. IRC.twit.tv. You are, all of you, how many we got in there? You, 711 people, are our fourth guest today.
Tom, it's like having the Borg here. It's a collective, really. And I love it. I say we should do this. Anytime a guest cancels, that robot should belly up to the plate and let's do this. I think this is going to be great. We're going to get to hear the collective predictions of people, and probably we'll zero in on, the ones that make the most sense. But I can't wait to see what the listeners say. This is going to be great.
Let's start off with one listener in particular. Feedback via email from Ryan Gray, who says, I'm still rather behind on Forecast, but episode 77, so he is way back there, reminded me of my prediction of a far future where augmented reality is extreme. Over time, we keep replacing more real-world things with AR. It is used as a great way to declutter the everyday world. For example, parking meters no longer needed. They're replaced by virtual ones that appear only when you want to park. At some point, so much becomes virtual that when you turn off the augmented reality or dial it back, the landscape is so much less cluttered than it is now. In many places, it will look almost as it did many years before now, almost going back in time. The abuse will come as it has with the internet. Probably just to view it at all will have to have massive ad clutter unless you pay a lot more to get just the AR you need or want. With the real world having had most of its physical components removed, you will need to have AR to do much of anything. Being without it will almost be like being homeless now.
Whoa. So for those at home who don't know what AR is, Tom, do you want to explain?
Augmented reality is the idea that you right now it's sort of you scan a barcode and you see something on your phone, but ultimately the idea is that through some sort of heads-up display, you would see things that aren't there based on visual cues and geopositioning. So Nokia's done a lot of research on this, where the idea is you're walking past a restaurant and the menu pops up when you're looking at the restaurant, so you can see what kind of things they serve. Novels have been written. William Gibson's written about it. Neil Stephenson's written about it with art installations. So in one of the Gibson novels, these famous murders and things you could see in the scene, like where the body laid out and the chalk lines and everything in Los Angeles. So there's all kinds of things you can do with it. But the idea is essentially augmented reality allows you to use the real world as a grid upon which you can add things that are relevant that aren't really there.
So well said. On the implementation we've seen so far is pretty basic stuff. We've seen a few things with iPhones and Android phones where they're kind of throwaway, sort of gamey sort of experiences that aren't really necessarily improving our lives much. You can do a little bit of fun with sightseeing and tourism and that sort of thing.
Yeah, chat room's mentioning Yelp's Monocle.
Yep. That was a good one. In fact, that was really I think that may have been my first real usable piece of AR technology. But I'm with the listener. I think that we are looking at a future where those kinds of things will become not only commonplace, but like he says, maybe required of us in a lot of ways. Eric, you work in the greater Manhattan area every day.
Yes, I do.
Would this kind of technology help you every day?
Well, the thing is as like Yelp, you like use it once or twice, and then you pretty much don't use it anymore because sometimes it's not always quite like the imagery is shifting. I mean, I think they have to come a long way for it to become a useful piece of technology. Because when you're sitting there like in the middle of Midtown, say, and you want to find the nearest subway or something like that, you can point the phone or whatever.
Sandwich shop or mass transit?
Mass transit.
Okay.
So nice. You need to clarify, of course.
Yeah.
But the big thing is what I like. What I need to know is how far am I away from that? Am I a couple blocks? With the whole AR thing, you really can't get a good idea of how far away are you from that specific location to make it worthwhile.
Right.
What's the closest subway? Oh, there's one over there, but there's one over there. But
but in Daniel Suarez's Demon and the subsequent Freedom TM sequel, it's used to show characteristics of people. So you don't appear as yourself, you appear as your avatar to others, and it shows stats above your head and what level of experience you are. It kind of turns the real world into a big MMO.
That's true. And then the beauty of this technology is it's going to go a lot further than just how close is the nearest subway to me. Although I think a lot of what you're...
Right now, that's what's happening now.
Yeah, but what Ryan's saying, because this is a show where we look into the future, is that in the future it gets good enough. It gets good enough that we actually dispense with a lot of the stuff in the physical world.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm thinking now and not in the future, which I could see it doing something in the future.
But I think the immediate thing that needs to happen is if I do want to know where the closest Subway is or the closest In-N-Out Burger, I want it to be able to give me the heads up about how many feet away I am or how many miles away, and have that turn to feet when I become so much distance to it. Maybe it's 300 yards and then it's feet and then it's inches. I want to be able to, really circumnavigate where I'm at. And that makes no sense because I have to go around the world to circumnavigate.
Actually, I think Yelp does have a distance thing below it.
Does it?
The marking. I think it does.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think what would be really cool is get to the point where it actually lays kind of like a GPS path where to walk.
Right. That would be brilliant.
Kind of cool.
They take basically instead of directions saying walk down the street, it just lays out a path for you. Here you go. You're on your way.
I gotta take a right here and then the left there. And
can you imagine in Long Acre Square if you looked up and instead of seeing I guess you guys renamed it Times Square. At Times Square, you look up and you see all of those bright lights and everything, but they're all just AR. And you turn off AR and it's just buildings. There's none of the billboards, none of the lights anymore.
Yeah, but it's just is this a thing where we're gonna have to wear a device on our head 24/7?
Nobody's gonna do that. You're right. It's going to have to be
ocular implants.
Yeah.
It'd be an ocular implant type of thing. My kids do have intraocular lenses, by the way. So
what does that mean? What does that do?
They have surgically implanted lenses because both of my kids were born with cataracts. So they have intraocular lenses already in their eyes.
Are they? Are they donated? Like donor style stuff, or are they?
No, they're
synthetic,
bionic.
Or what are they?
They're bionic. They're considered bionic.
Whoa, dude! That's kind of cool,
I like
but
bionics.
not, because that must have been horrible and a pain. But you know what I mean.
Well, no, I mean, because I was born with the same, I was born with cataracts also, which that technology wasn't available for me at that time. But now it's great for them because they have, because cataracts is the clouding of the lens, and which you have to surgically have them removed. But for me, like I still have to wear contacts, put them in the morning, type of thing. For them though, they're they have lenses in their eyes.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Red Links in the chat room pointed out there was that, I think it was called Mirror app, that you would point it at something and it would actually translate it. So
right.
So that you wouldn't see the
World
English
Lens.
word.
Yeah,
World
Word
Word
Lens.
Lens. Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
World Lens or Word Lens?
I think it was
Word.
Word. I don't
to your
remember. It was a
mother
big deal though,
lens.
because you could look at a sign that was in Spanish, point the thing at it, say I want to see this in English, and it would kind of do it in real time. It kind of worked pretty good. Like it had some problems. I ended up buying it when we reviewed it on AppSlappy, in fact. But there were times when it was just kind of Kardashian looking.
It's sketchy, but it does work. It's called Word Lens.
Yeah, chat room says it's called Word Lens. Thank you, chat room.
Yeah, we're getting there. So Ryan Gray, not only thank you for your email, but I think he's probably onto something. We are in the infant stages of this, but I think one day AR will be here to stay.
And 3 months from now, he'll hear this when he finally catches up to episode 102. All right, let's get into the predicting. These are the short-term predictions, things you think will happen sooner rather than later, maybe in the next few years. And Eric, we'll start with you. What do you have in your short-term prediction?
Well, it kind of hit me today. Like yesterday, I purchased a synth comes with a huge kind of sample library of 6 gigabytes. Right?
Oh, a synth with an N.
A
Not a
synth,
Sith.
like a soft,
You didn't purchase
not
a
a
Sith. Okay.
No, I didn't purchase a Sith Lord or anything like that.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, so I purchased it, and they said we're going to mail it to me because 6 gigabytes. That's that's a lot of information right there. But then right as I hit and I purchased it, I got an email for the opportunity to download the synth along with the 6 gigabyte library. And then I'm thinking, the other day I downloaded a 1080p video on Vudu, 1080p, which is 8 gigs. And then I'm thinking, why? I think in the short term, my short-term prediction is pretty much all the media will no longer be available in the physical form. As in today, as everything is up on the iCloud, is a big thing now these days. And I see in the short-term future, we're not going to have any of that stuff physically available to us. You got to kind of look at comic books. You look at, like my girlfriend right now, her job right now is scanning these books that are super old books at the Museum of Natural History in New York. So I think all this stuff is going to be uploaded. There's going to be no physical media to be able to access, and that's what I think is going to happen very shortly, because that's just the way I see it going.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So right now you get these synths, and they come with all this bundled stuff and on DVDs, I assume, or something like that, whatever it is, some kind of hard media. So
but these are like large amounts of information that are being downloaded to my computer, like over the internet. Like you think about it, 6 gigabytes, or this 1080p movie I downloaded it was 8 gigs. Think about it, like 2 years ago, people were like, oh my gosh, there's no way you're going to download that much information over the internet when you're purchasing something. But now it's happening today, like every day.
Yeah,
like
that's the data cap on a MiFi hotspot. 5 gigabytes. You've blown it. You've gone over it.
No, that's true. So what's the solution for? Is it just simply, here's your synthesizer? Oh, and by the way, have this online account to this big library. Here's your cool interface to it. Oh, I see these 3 samples I want, and you pull them down like that, and they're just there until you get rid of them. But they're always up in this space.
Well,
is
it's
that
like
kind of the
like
idea?
In the email, it said like, "Hey, keep this for the future. In the future, so if you say my computer crashes, I lose a hard drive or something, I have the ability to re-download it. Which is what a better way to have something off-site, than always have access to it.
Yeah, I always say redundant copies. You should have 3 copies of your data at all time. You should have the one that's actually on your hard drive. You should have a local backup of some sort, probably to a NAS or an external hard drive, and then you should have one in the cloud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like
Yep, I agree with
I don't
that.
know how many times I tell people this is they ask me what I use for backup, and I said, well, I use Time Machine, but I also use Carbonite for my offsite stuff.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Because what happens is if my house burns down, what about all those photos I have of my kids? You know, and it's just like it's gone. Because like no matter how many local backups you have, if your house goes up in flames, that stuff is not.
And you're
recoverable,
always
but
taking
that's
more
why-
photos, right? It's not like
Yeah.
yeah. You know, it's not like
Exactly.
you just take that and stick it in a safety deposit box, like somebody in the chat room was saying. Fushigi is saying safety deposit box, but the problem with that is it's out of date because you have to keep going back and getting it out and updating it.
Exactly. I mean, right now I have 300 gigs backed up in the cloud.
You know, that's what
Sheesh.
banks should do. They should provide connected safety deposit boxes.
Oh man,
That would be.
That's a great idea.
There's an idea.
So you actually bring your own drive.
You just made your millions right there. Tom.
Yeah, you plug it in. Safety deposit box. You can go get the drive out, swap it out with a bigger drive whenever you want, but you always have network access to it.
Tom, welcome
Yeah.
to the 1%. Nice job on your $1 million
Welcome to
idea.
the 1%.
Yeah, except they'll just steal it. They probably, we've been working on that for years.
Sure.
It's not a new idea at all.
So get somebody on working on this now.
No, I love that idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you know, I think we will have physical media. I've said this over and over. We will always have physical media, but
You
I
think
think
it gets smaller?
I think we will have it for collecting. So not every kind of physical media we have now will survive. Obviously, 8-tracks have pretty much gone away, and you know, other than at a flea market, you never see them. But vinyl hasn't. Vinyl has persisted because of the collectability, because people like the sound. There's something about it. And so I think there will always be a need to have books. People will want to own certain kinds of books. It will be very limited, the number of things that actually get published. And I think optical media, you know, like DVDs, Blu-ray, whatever succeeds that, will still be around for somebody who just wants to have the box of all the Lord of the Rings movies on an optical drive.
Yeah, but I have to say that stuff is getting so cheap because I bought the entire Matrix collection, which came with 7 Blu-rays on Amazon for like $25.
Yeah,
That's
but
because the only good DVD or the only good Blu-ray in there is the first one.
the model,
Well,
well,
it
yeah,
has-
that could be,
It has
right?
the Animatrix in there,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why I bought it.
Oh,
Well, the
that's
model
true.
could
Yeah.
be like what video games do now, where you have the collector's edition of the video game. I think
That's true.
I think in the future you'll either download the game or buy the collector's edition. The collector's edition will have, maybe it won't even be optical media, maybe it'll just be USB drives that actually have your movies or whatever. That's part of that, but that won't be the point. The point will be the action figure and the comic book and the the stuff that comes around it.
That stuff will survive the collect. Yeah, I can see your point there. The collectability. That's where the. And the thing is, I think the vinyl hasn't really gone the way of the dodo bird. It's just because of the culture of DJs, like people who go out and scratch or that type of culture. They always, they like the vinyl out
Right,
there, and
right.
just the interactivity of playing with vinyl.
But I guess that's what I'm saying is there will always be people like, oh, I just like to sit and read a book and turn the pages and have first editions. And I think that'll never go away. I think in the majority, I agree with your prediction that most of what we buy and consume in the short term
'Cause,
future is going to be
remember,
digital. It's all going to go digital.
Yeah, I remember maybe 3 years ago, people were just like, "Oh, Blu-ray is not going to survive," and I'm like, "There's no way that the online capabilities will be able to match the quality of a 1080p disc, physical media in your Blu-ray player." But the other night, I downloaded a 1080p video.
Yeah.
Straight off the internet, and the quality was amazing. It was 1080p, and I'm just like, well, I guess I was wrong, because I never thought that would exist, but it does exist now.
Hey, I was for HD DVD, so I was more wrong than you.
So how's your HD DVD collection?
It's the same as it was when I got those 6 free HD DVD
Free.
movies from Microsoft when I bought the Xbox add-on.
It's neither growing nor dwindling. But didn't it come with the with Batman Begins? That's a pretty good HD DVD. in
No,
there.
I got King Kong.
Oh, well, that's all right too.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can sleep for the first half. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's pretty. Very pretty on HD DVD, which I can still watch with my Xbox HD DVD add-on.
Oh, weird.
All right, chat room, your short-term prediction, things you think will happen sooner rather than later, maybe in the next few years. What do you have for us? I can't read it off the screen. I'm going to have to read it off my thing. Okay, short-term prediction from Jektel. Social Security numbers will be enhanced and implemented with RFID chips implanted surgically at birth. They will be prerequisites for immigration, and Social Security will be rebranded to focus on security rather than social as funds continue to drain. Oh, I like that.
Fantastic.
The security number. We just dropped the social out of it.
Yeah, I like that. This isn't too far from the normal prediction on the show, which is that we're going to have, implants of some sort. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Veronica Belmont in our first episode who said that she was all for it. Let's do it. What's taking everybody so long? I want my chip. This is an interesting way of finding a practical use for it immediately. Like, there's a reason this would work now. And it would provide there are going to be people flipping out about this idea, of course, and I'm going to just sort of ignore that argument for a minute about privacy and about what this means for the future and what we're really accepting. But on just a practical standpoint, a ability to track and do census and know that people are who they say they are and all these sorts of things, and eliminating more levels of fraud. This is an awesome idea, and taking the social out of it is I think a no-brainer at this point.
I don't think the U.S. public will go for this in the short term.
No.
There's just no way this would be allowed to happen. I do think that some sort of security number will come, but I don't think it'll replace the Social Security number. I think it will be an encryption number, that it becomes your sort of digital fingerprint for decrypting things that are yours, and it'll be a big fight over whether the government or how much the government is allowed access to that key. It'll be basically your private key. You'll get an official private key that will be yours.
Brought to you by PayPal.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to a question. And Eric, maybe you can throw your idea at this. Who do you suppose will own this? In other words, who will run it? Will it be innovated in the private sector? Will this be a government issued thing? Eric, what do you prefer? More government, less government when it comes to your chip in your head?
I think it's going to be that IQ company. Who is that? The Android
Carrier IQ?
Carrier IQ.
Nice.
Wow. All right. What do you think, Tom?
I don't
Who's in charge? Who puts that thing in your head and runs it and makes sure the servers are up? And
I think what will happen, at least in the current climate, what's likely to happen is a public-private partnership. So the government contracts probably more than one agency to run a secure digital ID system that the government has legal restrictions on how they can access it, when they can access it. That's going to be legislated very tightly, and it's voluntary. It's not mandatory. Which Social Security number is not mandatory either, and I think that then becomes a service that is backed by the government, possibly not even funded by the government, but backed by the government as sort of a we're assuring that these companies are trustworthy, and that they can be digital. I don't think it'll ever be implanted necessarily. Not in the short term.
I like Space Guy in the chat room has a great comment. He says corporations. It's a little cynical, but he says corporations run the governments, which will run the chips. So there's your combination right there.
Corporations will run the chips, exactly. All right, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor, Ford. This episode of Forecast is brought to you by Ford, featuring available Sync. Sync's entertainment features enable you to access music and podcasts from most devices, including your iPod, your mobile phone, your tablet, or your flash drive. Sync with My Ford Touch, you can play videos or display photos from your digital cameras, your portable game device when your vehicle is in park. While you're waiting, outside, sitting in the car, play some games. All made possible through a versatile media hub, which supports a convenient variety of devices for your music and entertainment, such as wired connections from pretty much any device through USB ports, SD slots, and those good old RCA jacks, those little mini jacks. They still work. That's what I use. Wireless access via Bluetooth. Just connect your devices and play. Ford Sync takes care of the rest. Once your device is connected, you can use voice activation features to play what you want. Just a few simple voice commands. Play rock and roll. Play jazz. Play Dizzy Gillespie. Play Moons Over Miami. That's actually a dish. There's a song by that name too. But also available is Sync with My Ford Touch HD Radio, featuring iTunes tagging. Let you tag a song that you like on the radio and then transfer it to your iPad. You can buy it from the iTunes store, all with your voice. Sync's versatile entertainment features are available in the 2012 Ford Focus. And for more, go to Ford.com/technology. We thank them for their support of Forecast, an appropriate program, because Ford is really bringing you the future now in a lot of ways. Check it out, Ford.com/technology. Let's get to the long-term predictions. And
hold on 1 second.
You've got someone crawling on your floor, Eric.
I know. What are you doing?
I predict a child is in trouble.
I would have been less obvious.
It's so funny because it's right in the camera.
I know. It was
perfectly angled.
But
it was like one of those weird Japanese horror movies. Anyway.
Let's get to your long-term prediction. These are more of the in 100 years sort of thing. What do you got for us, Eric?
This is I had kind of a hard time thinking about this, but what's going on in the political realms of stuff, I think maybe 1 or 2 states is going to secede from the union.
Really?
Yes.
Like a civil war?
I don't know if it's going to be a civil war type of thing, but I think it's going to be what if a state wants to secede? Is that until war? Is that until like blocking off its borders? But I can actually see one of the states doing this just because, just like what's going on in the political realm, how nobody on either side of this can agree on anything, and how you look at how what Congress is doing. They can't. It's so black and white. There's no gray areas, and I don't know, and if you look at history, it just, I don't know if it can get better, or it's just like, and I'm just kind of thinking about it, because like you can actually see one of these states who is so like,
which state?
Just like,
which state?
I don't want to say which
state is more likely to go. It's not insulting. You're just,
No, I don't. No, I'm not going to say, but
Texas,
Utah.
They are a whole other country.
Yeah.
No, Idaho. Damn it.
I wrote a book called Boiling Point that the premise was basically all the states secede and U.S. breaks up into separate countries. Yeah.
Oh, so
you should read it. It's good.
Right. That's why I'm like, I started the book with the main character hating Texas, and Texas starts the whole thing off by trying to secede. So.
So Eric, do they truly secede, or do they just attempt to secede? Because someone in the chat room suggested that's a very different thing. They may go through the motions of doing that, but then everybody else comes in and goes, nope, you're not doing that, and we stop it. Like, what gives them the power to even do that?
I don't know. Tom, you want to speak to this?
Well, they don't have the power. The question that I think Scott's asking is if Texas or some other country says we're fed up with the federal government, we've found some kind of grounds that we believe give us the legal right to be separate, and we're going to be separate, whatever that means, whatever it takes, likely they'll have to have a foreign country that is willing to aid them, because I don't believe any state can survive on its own entirely in the current climate, in the current world climate. I mean, what you see are closer and closer relations being formed like the European Union. But I'm not saying that's impossible. So if a state does that, will it be allowed to happen? Obviously the last time this happened, Civil War, the North put together an army and went and fought the South, and the North won and made all the states come back. Would it lead to war? Would the state end up backing off? Would people in the state support it enough that they could make a go of it? Would it lead to some intervention where, I don't know, maybe Germany comes in and says, no, we're protecting Texas. They have the right to secede.
They have the right.
I guess it'd be a whole thing where they close off the borders, and where it should it'd have to come out to all-out war, depending on how passionate the people in the so-called state wants to leave the current situation of the U.S. government. But I guess, as you make the point, that they'd have to have some external some support as to do so. It seems like if you're going to be able to do this,
you almost have to do what Tom just suggested, which is the only other time it really happened in these United States is when we kind of went in halves, right? So all of the southern states said, we're out of here, and the northern states said, no, and then you've got war that is actually fightable and even winnable on either side, you know, depending on your point of view. I feel like it needs to be more than just one state. Like, it can't just be Idaho going, that's it, we're out, because everybody around them is not in on the deal.
Iowa.
But if you have half the country in on the deal, let's say everything west of the Mississippi, that's a big deal. I mean, that is
that would be a big deal. That would
Sure.
be more of a
And I think
thing.
the problem is the split ideologically in the country is not really
It's not
along two lines.
It's not. It's like you got your different sections. There are no physical line that you can like cut anything in half.
It's not regional. And states are not reflective of populations either. Just one state, even Texas, is really made up of. You could slice it a lot of different ways, but let's say 3 different major regions. There's the East Texas area. There's that's very southern. There's the South Texas area that's very Hispano-American, and there's the west and northern parts of Texas, which are very similar to Utah and Wyoming and very Rocky Mountain State, and they have different flavors.
Then there's Austin.
Then there's Austin, which is from the moon.
They're an island unto themselves, actually.
Austin, which
They're
is
pretty
it's more. Or Rush Limbaugh used to call it the San Francisco of the South. So.
He's not wrong.
He's not far wrong. They're very similar. Portland, Austin, San Francisco, all very similar in many ways. And I lived for those who don't know, I lived in Austin for 6 years, so I'm good-naturedly ribbing.
You could even wedge Salt Lake City in there. It's like an island in the middle of a very, very conservative state that is not that much of a conservative city. I think you're going to, you know, it's interesting to tack this onto your prediction, because I think we're going to see that more. I think we're going to see these island nations, call them cities within cities or whatever, where it is a stark contrast to its surrounding political nature or its surrounding cultural nature.
Well, and it's actually true.
That's going to be more common.
Most cities differ from their surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Austin is very weird, but you get out to the outlying Austin areas and Round Rock and Bee Cave and Buda, and you have much different opinions in those areas of the country or of the county outside of Travis County than you do in Austin. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting Civil War. I think you know what? I think if your prediction is a state is going to try, or there's going to be a big movement to do it, I think you're right.
Yeah, because it's just the way our political system is going right now. Just like it's so black and white. It's just you're either on the right or the left. There's no
well,
like.
Here's the counterweight though. The studies have shown, and I wish I had a better citation than that. I hate it when people do that, but there have been studies where it shows that actually most people in the United States are near the middle in their opinions. They're very moderate. They may lie on one side or the other, but they're very moderate. What happens is the way our political system has evolved, it favors the extremists. And so the rhetoric is all on the edges, because we have a party system that favors the extremists, because we have these primaries that you have to play to the extreme parts of your party to get the nomination, because the people in the middle don't vote in the primaries in as great a numbers. And then you have districts voting for House of Representatives that favors the extremists, because they slice it up to put all the Republicans in one district and all the Democrats in another. And again, you want to win by playing to the extreme.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but there's something wrong with that system. If
there is.
Yes, there is, because if what's being represented is not the majority, that is like, and that's why our country is not making any progress on anything. It's just like, the whole debt thing, where like they got all together to what was that? What was that committee that had the deadline saying, oh, if this doesn't happen, we're going to cut trillions of dollars just like automatically. But they never got to a resolution, and then they said, oh, we don't really have to cut anything right now.
Yeah,
it's just that like nothing is working out as far as like the left and the right in Washington D.C. Nothing is getting done, and it's just like And as you say, I agree. You know, you go around the country, you're not, you know, like I travel here and there to doing shoots, and it's like I'm not like, you know, finding these really crazy extreme people like, oh my gosh, you know, blah blah blah, Obama this, Obama that. But that's all you see within Washington D.C. and what's being covered by the media maybe is what's being, you know, amplified. But it's not. But nothing is getting done, and it's just like, you know, that's why I see. Yeah. That's why I get the feeling the future thing is like, you know, the government's not it's not working very well based on the way our system is set up right now. And that's why I see a country, not a country, but a state is going to say like, oh, this is, you know, nothing's getting done. We're going to, you know, we don't agree, blah, blah, blah. We're going to try to secede. So
Rick Perry takes Texas and runs. The Drews says that while the USA is falling apart, Australia will sneak in through the back door and become leaders of the free world.
Wow. Is that our chat room prediction?
That I don't know. We should turn to the chat room for the chat room's long-term prediction. The more of the flying cars sorts of things. What do you have for us, chat room? Art Janier says, in 100 years, genetically engineered megafauna animals like lions, elephants, giraffes, and other custom ones will roam free on all North American soil. They'll entertain us and maintain our flora and fauna so that we don't have to rely on nature anymore. They'll also provide military defense for the USA, Canada, and Mexico.
Wow.
Megafauna. Brought to you by Sci-Fi.
I don't even know what to say about that. That's very interesting. I mean, wouldn't we... It sounds like we're going to have to rely on them for all our military and our recreational needs. Like they're kind of spanning the whole gamut of what we need from our biologically engineered animals. Is there any room for variation? Like, do we have to just, these are it and that's it? Are they just going to kill everything else? Like, that's what I would fear, is that they would just sort of wander the earth and destroy all other species, and all other mammals would bow before them and tremble in fear. And that doesn't seem like a very happy future to me.
You know what, Scott? I think you're overthinking this. One word. Megafauna.
Ah, megafauna. Okay, I'm back. I'm in. I'm all in, guys.
Stop worrying. Oh, they're going to take over the rest. It's freaking megafauna. We have huge animals doing our bidding.
Yeah.
Tromping around. It's from an Art Janier. So you have to trust it. But genetically engineered megafauna animals, so we'll genetically engineer them to do what we want. Just think of how fun it'll be when you walk outside and you see like a giant elephant tromping by, tipping his hat to you, keeping you safe.
Yeah,
all right, if it's truly...
something's got to go wrong in that, you know.
Right.
It's always
one word, megafauna.
But I'm with Eric. So, Eric, imagine downtown in New York City, you're trying to get work done. Giant elephant walks by. I don't care if he tips his hat to you or not. Not safe. We're not ready for it. The infrastructure would need to change.
Don't be a speciesist.
A speciesist. Yeah.
One word.
Megafauna. All right. One word, 2 syllables. No, 3 syllables.
I think we might want megaflora too.
You know
4
what?
syllables.
I think you start writing a screenplay now.
I think Sci-Fi will buy it.
They would. If it involves a giant man-like mosquito, you're in. That's all
exactly.
they require.
Anything with mega in the title, they're going for it.
And make sure you make it 3D. Mega 3D.
Megafauna 3D.
Oh, man.
All right, time for the crazy-ass predictions. One really far out there forecast, like in 2,000 years, we'll all be made of grapes. We start with you, Eric. Van Skyhawk, what is your crazy-ass predictions?
What's my... Well, it kind of goes in the whole chip idea, which is the implanted chip.
Yeah, okay.
Take it a little further.
Last time you were on the show, you predicted everyone will have GPS implanted chips inside of them. So, okay.
Way beyond.
Your crazy-ass prediction last time was nanotechnology will be able to assemble atoms into whatever material you want.
Yes.
So what is your crazy-ass prediction this time?
Well, anyway, I read an article about how Taiwan is developing this thumb drive, right? Thumb drive.
Yeah, like a USB drive. Good. Gotcha.
That holds 2 terabytes.
Okay.
2 terabytes on a thumb drive. Can you imagine?
I can.
Then I kept thinking about how each time an iteration of a processor gets smaller and smaller, and it becomes even, they can they continue to make it more powerful as they make it smaller. So my crazy prediction is in the future, we will have little chips implanted in each one of these. And this chip will be our computer, our work computer, our home computer. It'll be our entertainment system. It will hold our medical records. It'll be the way we pay for things. It will encapsulate our whole entire life. And what happens is we just have devices that surround us that access this chip. So like say you want to talk on the phone. So you have just like a handset that connects to that chip, which has all your contact information, your email stuff. So we just have these peripheral devices connected to this chip. So say when you go home and you want to watch a movie, you walk into the room, your big, huge, honking 72-inch high super def TV connects to the chip to watch the media that you have on your chip, the stuff, the shows, the video games, and the stuff that you like. And as then you go into work, you have a little terminal that hooks up to your chip that has all your stuff that you're working on, and complete access to everything will be on this little chip. You go into the store, you need to pay for something, little cashier thing connects to it that has your bank account information in it, and you pay for stuff as you walk through. So that's
so in a way, like the way we rely on electricity right now, everything kind of has to be hubbed around where there's power. Instead, in your future, both the power and the information, or the power to access the information, is in you. You are the power plant of data or of access or of whatever. So a portable
chip. Yeah, it's a portable computing system that has amazing storage capabilities and processing power, and we just have all these little devices that access the chip, and that's how we live our lives. And so, like, if I go over to Scott's house, it's like, oh, you gotta check out this movie I just got, and I can his little TV will access my chip, and they're like, oh, that's awesome, type of thing. That's my crazy ass.
I would love that.
I don't think you need to have storage on the chip, honestly.
You think it'd be,
I think cloud storage can take care of a lot. It's just, you just need to have authentication and, almost like a registry on the chip that says, when I access the ultranet that has replaced the internet, that binds all things together.
But just think how cool that is like, say you you don't have to worry about losing your phone anymore.
Right.
Because all it is just a handset that accesses your chip. It's just a cheap little...
Well, you probably don't even have a handset. You probably you could have an implant for that, too, where you just hear...
Yep.
Well, yeah, but that's like a whole connecting with the brain.
Ultra chip. Call...
That's a
Mega
whole,
and Ultra. Tom just wants to throw Mega and Ultra on the end of everything, and that pretty much solves our problem. Yeah.
Mega Ultra Chip 2000.
But no, I get what you're saying. It doesn't have to be a brain implant. I'm saying the form factor is probably going to change. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, to access you got to get to do actually like audio. You have to go into the brain and access. Those
I was thinking like a Bluetooth headset kind of thing would contain your phone. That is sort of what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my crazy prediction.
Tom, let's turn it over to the chat. What do they have?
All right, crazy ass prediction chat room. One really far out there forecast. What do you have for us today, Mr. and Mrs. Chat Room Hive Mind? Good Sound says, I predict that the AMPTP will get legislation passed that will mandate that everyone be fitted with DRM contacts that cloud over anytime we try to watch some TV or movie we haven't paid them for.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great... we got to do chat room more often. That's a really good crazy-ass prediction. I wish it felt more crazy-ass to me and less possible. But think about that for just a second. If implants and this whole ocular technology we keep talking about becomes a real thing, that's a very real thing, especially if the government is the one controlling it. I don't want to be conspiratorial. Whoever controls it, I don't care. But they really would have the power to say, well, dude is over at his friend's house and they're watching a movie they didn't pay for, and have it get all messed up in your head. Now, obviously, they couldn't do that, so you couldn't drive, or they can't just willy-nilly turn that on. But I think that thing's
sounds a little dangerous.
If we believe in the future chips, then we believe in that possibly happening. Is all I'm
Could
getting.
you
at.
imagine your friend? Oh, look at this! Like you're driving. He goes, "Hey, look at this video right here while you're driving." I can't see.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's dangerous either way. But the idea that they could just shut you off because you're watching something they deem inappropriate, not up to community standards, something you didn't get legally or whatever.
What if there's a chip that shocks you when you're watching something you haven't paid for?
That's what I'm saying. It just starts there and it just keeps getting worse. So, yeah, maybe we don't want these chips so much. Or maybe.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have to. You know what? By then, all the old people who are dragging their feet and want to DRM everything inside will be dead. So we will be living in a land of everyone just understanding the way the internet works.
Maybe the only DRM will be on the chips themselves. That will be the only copyrightable, patentable thing that anyone cares about anymore is these various brands and makes of chips. And after that, all other content becomes, public domain, traded publicly. So people buy these things from each other and spend currency because they value it, not because there's some rule that says they have to. Like maybe that utopian thing comes true while they fight over chips.
Either that or all infants will have ocular surgery that alters their retina to not be able to see anything unless it is descrambled by an approved chip so that all of reality is DRM'd effectively. One or the other.
You're blowing my mind.
All right. This episode of Forecast brought to you by Netflix, streaming you thousands of TV episodes and movies directly to your screen. When I say screen, that screen could be hooked up to a Mac, to a PC. It could be your iPad screen, could be your iPhone, could be your Android phone, Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii. Watch it all. Apple TV. I mean, Netflix is pretty much everywhere. It's on those little widgets on the televisions. I was using it this weekend to watch Downton Abbey, Season 1. Fantastic show. Just ate it up like candy watching it on Netflix. You can do the same for free. Twit gives you a 30-day free trial at netflix.com/twit. Tell your friends. Netflix.com/twit for a 30-day free trial of Netflix.
Yeah, I've been catching up with Burn Notice.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Burn Notice.
A bit of Fry and Laurie on there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very Monty Python-esque with Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie from House before he was House.
It's back when he was almost like Blackadder days.
Yeah, it's just after. All right, Scott, shall we do 4 questions?
I think we should. We ask 4 questions of our guests, even this fake robot electronic one we call the chat room today. And we do it rapid fire style. That means they don't have time to think about it too hard. They must answer from the gut. Chat room, are you sitting comfortably?
Got to wait for the lag.
I can only assume.
They say they're not fake, by the way. Yes, they are sitting comfortably. Good.
All right, fantastic. My questions are for you, chat room. Number 1, when aliens invade, what will be the hardest candy to explain to them? I am suddenly so glad this is for the chat room.
Aliens invade, what will be the hardest? We're going to have to repeat each question to make up. M&M's, Baby Ruth, Lifesavers, Swedish Fish, Reese's Pieces. There does not seem to be hive mind agreement on which.
Wait. My favorite is ravioli.
My favorite candy. Swedish Fish getting gummy worms, also getting gummy stuff. Seems like gummy stuff.
Gummy stuff.
Maybe Jolly Ranchers.
All right, gummy stuff and Jolly Ranchers. Good answer. Next up, of all the technology we use today, what seems like it came secretly from time-traveling aliens the most?
Of all the technology.
Yes. Alien.
Sour Patch Kids.
We use today.
The Cheetos could still be an answer to that.
South Park.
Interesting.
Justin Bieber. Low flow
Jell-O.
toilets.
Yeah, low flow toilets.
Good answer.
You know what?
Shoelaces. The pyramids.
You know what answer? I'm going with low flow toilets.
Also ravioli. Ravioli made a return.
Ravioli.
If we're talking Chef Boyardee, then yes, I agree. All right, number 3. Which of these Minority Report technologies would you most like to have right now? Instant eye transplants, personalized wall mural-based targeted advertising, or a pool full of bald people who predict future crimes?
Instant eye transplants, mural-based targeted advertising, pool of bald people. Well, bald people, obviously, the overwhelming winner.
Oh, wow.
Everybody wants a pool full of bald people.
I agree. And then finally, chat room, when will we get Pepsi Clear again and why?
The why is the key here. I mean, anybody could say when we'll get Pepsi Clear, but why will it happen then?
I would drink that listening to Van Halen 1988.
Right now.
2014, 2019. You guys aren't saying why, though. Never. It's
I heard
rubbish.
Pepsi, what?
Due to the caramel color shortage, 2020.
Yes.
2012,
That's
right after the
fantastic.
apocalypse. All right.
Oh, this is great. I would love
think
some
you have a
right
lot
now.
of young
I was a
kids who
big
don't know
Pepsi
what-
Clear freak.
We got a
This
lot
stuff
of
is
people
great.
who don't know what it is.
I always associate Pepsi Clear with moving to Washington, D.C., actually Arlington, Virginia, because I was driving myself and all my possessions across the country, and I stopped at a, like one of those gas stations to fill up on my drive, and they had Pepsi Clear at the gas station. And I bought it and tried it.
It's a little weird, right?
It's not,
little-
much of a story. It just always reminds me of that.
Yeah, I always relate to that Saturday Night Live skit that came out. Was it clear gravy, crystal gravy?
Ah, yeah. Crystal, I wanted that to be real.
I did too.
Crystal gravy.
Good job, though, chat room. I'm
On my
impressed with
glass
your ability
moves.
to do 4 questions. That was rather amazing. But now we'll ask a real living human being his 4
Mr.
questions.
Eric Hakito Van Skyhawk, are you
Yes,
sitting
yes.
comfortably?
Yes,
Get comfortable. Good.
I'm comfortable.
Then we'll begin. Question number 1. Will popcorn ever become sentient? Sentient popcorn.
Yes, just due to the high caloric content, it will become
Spontaneous sentience. Question number 2. It's the year 2100. Is the world post-apocalyptic, advanced and utopian, or pretty much the same as now but with cooler gadgets?
Pretty much what it is now with cooler gadgets.
All right.
Sorry,
I guess
boring.
I'm not worried about living that
Sorry.
long then.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the same stuff all over again. Question number 3. Do you really think we'll win our inevitable war with the spider armies, and why?
Ugh.
Yes, we will win the war because we have ample amount of raid.
Raid! I've been fighting the spider armies at my house. That's why this is on my mind.
Really?
Question, yeah, we got spiders like crazy in Marin. Question number 4. What new product will Apple put out next? And I don't mean like iPad 3. I mean like new product line.
Oh, the new product line of Apple. Oh man, that's a tough one. They've touched music, video. I think it's going to be maybe a TV, maybe an Apple device.
That seems to be the conventional wisdom.
Yes, because they've touched phone, music. The Apple TV right now, I mean, that's not really.
It's a hobby.
Much.
Jobs
It's a
kept calling it a
hobby.
hobby. And
Yeah,
Steve Jobs
I think-
said in the Walter Isaacson book that he thought he had cracked the TV thing.
Console
did he?
gaming is the answer.
No.
Yeah,
And
I do.
Apple's
I really do.
The Pippin
Apple's
returns.
I don't think
No.
Apple's
I'm
gonna
not
get-
saying. I'm not saying they go the route of, hey, we got to get the latest Assassin's Creed. They go the route of iOS is really owning the portable space, and that stuff looks pretty good blown up to a big screen. Let's harness those developers. Let's get a little more power under the hood, and let's have a huge app ecosystem that feeds people nothing but console games with a real controller and a TV. I'm telling you, that could totally work.
Yeah, the only problem right now is they have a long way to go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're working on now. It could be, I think, as Tom mentioned, because I haven't read that book yet. I want to read it, but my iPad is inaccessible right now. But as he said, Jobs said he cracked the TV code, which would be interesting to see what does that mean and what does that entail for the future of
I think it just
Apple.
means you can get Cinemax without paying for it.
Is that what it is?
I've cracked it.
Unscrambled porn.
Possibly.
Brilliant.
All right. Those are your 4 questions, Hakito. Thank you so much. And thank you both.
No
Hi.
questions about being a horrible tank.
No, not this time.
Not today.
I'm giving you a break. Question. I thank chat room and you for being here. Eric, let folks know where they can find you online. Not only App Slappy, but all the stuff you do.
I'm a Hakito, HAWKITO, KITO on Twitter. Oh, great. There you go. Also, you can find me on iTunes. My album's called Skyhawk. The album name is Function. Mr. Scott Johnson did the artwork.
Mm-hmm. Album cover.
Yes, it's his style all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
And of
Right
course,
now I'm working.
oh yeah, go
Right
ahead.
now I'm working on a remix album of Function.
Oh, cool.
That's what
Check it
electronic
out.
artist does.
$9.99 on iTunes. Buy it now.
Yep.
Eat it up. Awesome. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Hakito. And
Well, thanks for having me
yeah,
again.
I appreciate it. Chat room, thank you as well. Of course, you can find the chat room at irc.twit.tv. We appreciate you guys hanging out and being our fourth guest today.
You want to ask the chat room what they want to plug?
I am. I'm about to ask them if you have something. Where can we find all of you online? Let us know. Ravioli.
There you go.
Nice. Ravioli on Twitter.
This is great. I give them heads up in the chat room. Like, okay, I'm going to plug you. Like, let folks know where you can find them online. They're all putting live.twit.tv, irc.twit.tv. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Every one of you 697 people. We had 711 at the beginning, but if you got stage fright, it's understandable. Scott Johnson, The Instance, the Old Republic edition.
Yeah, it launched on Thursday. Yeah, to much acclaim. It actually is still in the top 20 of overall iTunes podcasts, both video and audio, which makes me very happy. For a while, it hovered in the number 6 position, and we didn't even have an episode out at that point. We had a little holder file. So very pleased with the reception, very excited about it. We put our first episode up. It's there now. They can go to theinstance.net/TOR if you're looking forward to the Old Republic from BioWare and Electronic Arts. That show may just be for you.
The game officially launched?
The game comes out on the 20th, although a lot of people will have early access. Up to 5 days ahead is the plan, according to BioWare. If they already pre-ordered, they would have gotten a code to do that. So people will be playing this game in not much time, a week or two at the most.
I listened to The Instance Old Republic over the weekend. It was invaluable preparation for my appearance on the Cantina Band. The competing Old Republic.
A fantastic show in its own right, I should say. I really like those guys. They had me on their first their first episode, and Adam and Schwood, of course, doing a great job. It's really actually a very strong ecosystem of tour shows out right now. Probably more so than there were when World of Warcraft launched. Certainly that was true then, because that was very early in podcasting. Really prior to podcasting being available. So to see these many shows with such good content ready to go at launch, kind of awesome, and we're just happy and humbled to be a part of it.
Thanks everybody for listening or watching. You can find us on the web at forecastpodcast.com, also at twit.tv/FC, and you can email us forecastpodcast@gmail.com. That's it for this edition of Forecast. We'll see you in the future. Get it? Because we're forecast. It's kind of a pun. Not a pun. Megafauna.
That's your new character in Tor when you start one. Megafauna.
I was just going to be Bob again.
Forget about Bob X.
Bob the Bounty Hunter.
Bob the Bounty Hunter.
I think everyone I know is making a bounty hunter. I'm a little nervous about tons of bounty hunters.
I'm going to make I'm going to make a smuggler once the real thing starts, but I wanted to hold off. I said this on Cantina Band. I wanted to hold off doing too many characters until the thing actually launches. I don't want to spoil too much stuff.
Sure. No. Totally understand.
This is PC only, right?
Yeah, it is. It's funny, though. People I know who, like, other games have come and gone because they didn't have Mac versions are all, like, caving and getting, either a partition with Boot Camp, or they're doing some kind of virtualization, or they're buying a PC for this. Yeah, it plays great in Boot Camp. Yeah, no problem.
I think that's what Leo's been doing.
Any semi-modern Mac will play it just fine. Play the beta just fine right now. So
yeah, it does. It can't be like a 5-year-old.
No.
Boy.
But that would be bad for a PC, too.
I think my computer's up to snuff.
It doesn't run on children.
I just got to get a copy of Windows.
Oh, yeah. So you got that whole mess to worry about. That's such a pain in the butt.
You can buy them, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Should be free.
Buy it from Microsoft.
Good luck to that. Well, fantastic episode, chat room.
Yes, excellent chat room. Eric. Thank you so much.
That was way funner than I thought it was going to be. I actually kind of knew it would be when you.
It was great, and I was so excited with how well the chat room fulfilled my expectations for awesome predictions. There were so many good ones that were put in the chat room that we didn't read. I felt bad, but we'll do it again. Are you packing a piece?
It looks like you're doing some drawing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My drawing gloves on. Today's comic is late.
Very Dickensian. Here, all about Android.
Yes. Sans your wife, which will be weird.
Sans
coming
your
up.
wife.
Yeah. Me and Eric will do App Slappy without her tomorrow. Oh, well.
We doing App Slappy tomorrow?
Heck yeah, we are.
Can I still Skype in and listen to you record while I play video games? Because it's
Yes.
not quite the same since Eileen won't be there.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
you
could
should.
even-
Yeah, you should Skype in. And then
I'm
from
not
the
going to be on the
background-
show. I'll just have you guys
You just-
playing.
You just want to know what's going on back
Yeah.
there.
I just-
Yeah.
And
No,
then
we
you-
could
so,
totally do
you
that.
know, we also be really away from the mic. So when you say something,
Right. I'll make a snide comment once or twice as I walk by.
It's brilliant.